Blessings. Welcome to One Heart TV. This is Johanna One Heart. It's official. My name is changing, so follow the next couple of weeks as everything shows up as Johanna One Heart, because truly, at the end of the day, what are we but one heart, one love, beyond love. Welcome to One Heart TV, where our hearts beat as one. So let's breathe into that universal heartbeat and the connectedness of our hearts, no matter where we are in time and space. Exhaling anything that is not serving your highest good in this moment. And let's Om together. Today is my guest is Kavita MacMillan, Bhakti artist and beautiful yoga teacher extraordinaire. So I'd like to have her join in the stream for an Om as we open our practice. Bhakti yoga is a little bit of our theme today, as well as love in all of its forms, universal, personal, and all that it serves. Deep breath in to prepare. Beyond birth, beyond color, beyond shape, beyond doubt, beyond love is only love, only love, love, love. Jale, ape, apu, aju. Anasaka, saka, chapanch, Allah kubaka, akadaya, Allah kubaka, anamakam, agadadate, pramate, achoni, amoni, narage, narage, narupe, narege, akarman, aparman. Beyond birth, beyond color, beyond shade, beyond doubt, beyond love, beyond beyond love is only love, only love, love, love. Jale, abe, apu, aju. Anasaka, saka, chapanch, Allah kapaka, akadaya, Allah kapaka, anamakam, agada, nate, kamate, achoni, omoni, narange, narange, narupe, nareke, akarman, akarman, naganche, alege, only love. Love, love. Anamaka, akata, nate pramate, joni amon, narage, narange, narupe, narige, akaramang, akaramang, akanche, alege, anamata. Aga ada nate prapate achoni amoni narange narange narupe nareke akaraman akaraman akanche alege Taking a moment in silence to send some of that love to those who are struggling during these times of supposed isolation and separation, tuning in that we're connected, that we're all one heart, one love, beyond love. There's so many ways that we can tune in through the voice, through sound, and through practice. And today I really want to connect with practice space. I want to connect with, you saw one of my dear sister friends, Kavita MacMillan, singing with me. She's got this gorgeous bhakti yoga, heart-centered practice that shines through her music. And she's sung with me at festivals all across the country, here and there. And I've sung with her. And it's just such a beautiful heart-shared path that we've connected on. Here's a little bit about Kat before I invite her onto our show. Thank you, Koshi Chimes, for tuning me up for this practice together. You can find these at my website. They're these beautiful instruments from France that I just find hit my heart space. We're having technical difficulties. Pull out a Koshi. So Kavita MacMillan is a musician and a performer who brings over 20 years of teaching and sharing of yoga and sound. And her classes are just a beautiful offering. Her recent projects are just incredible. I've heard a single, The Beloved Lives Inside, featuring Jayu Tall. It's her debut single from her new album that she's working on. And it is a beautiful kirtan representation of traditional mantras and original compositions with Western and Indian classical influences. And knowing Kat, I know that this is so true to her practice and her heart to be expressing music in this way. Kavita facilitates retreats, workshops, private group classes, and spiritual festivals, and is an open, nurturing guide for those interested in the work. Her website is openheartkirtan.com. And just wanted to ask Kat to come on and show your beautiful face and show what the face of practice looks like, because that's part of what this show is about, is really opening up to the practice and to what the practice does for individuals from different lives, from different walks, from different places. We all have these lifelines that we grow and that we nurture through our lives if we're lucky. We've got this toolkit that we're grabbing and adding things to. And a lot of these friends that I have invited into this stream have been really wonderful practitioners of this. Gina, Sala, I interviewed a few weeks ago, is one of our dear friends and I believe mutual teachers who, really embodies the practice. And so, Kat, come on and show your beautiful face.
Hi.
MacMillan. So hey, my dear Bhakti sister, thank you for joining us on One Heart TV. It's so good to hear you in this virtual land and see you on.
Yeah, good to see you. Good to hear you sing. That was so beautiful. Thanks, Johanna.
Yeah, thanks for joining. I miss the in-person times that we've had, but I'm so excited to hear that your album is finally coming out of your original compositions of Bhakti yoga music.
It is. It's a real blessing of, kind of having to stay home
Yeah.
to really, get some of the work done that was getting done in between traveling around and offering music. And though I miss the live performance so much, it's been a good way to sort of focus in so that I can share the music in a different way. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've found the same thing exactly. I thought that I was working on one more album and I'm sitting on two more and I don't know how much else, because I've had so much time to create and kind of look at what I'm manifesting with the next page of this chapter, so to speak, because we all have this kind of, I don't know if you're having this experience, but it's like I just turned the page in the book that I'm reading and suddenly it's kind of like, oh, it's blank, but I still have
Right.
my toolkit, but I have this blank page to put it on.
Beautiful. Yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to hear. Are you working with our friend Hans on that?
Yeah, Hans is doing some of the final mixing and mastering
How
on
wonderful. We had him
the
on
final
last
tracks.
show.
Great. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah, he said the same thing about you, in fact.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we're having a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, is there anything that you would like to share about that project while we're on that subject? I think that you have a GoFundMe going. Maybe we can pull up the website for that GoFundMe here.
I do. Yeah, any pre-orders are greatly appreciated as they support this process and they all go to support the musicians that have been a part of this. I've been blessed to have some really incredible musicians who have devoted their life to this practice. You had mentioned Jayapal
Yeah.
is on the single that I first released, "Take My Hand," and Daniel Paul plays a lot of tabla throughout. Our mutual friend Will Marsh, fantastic young sitar player, is featured. Steve Gorn on Bonsuri, lots of cello from Hans Christian, and it's a real wonderful blessing to have all of these friends in the family that I can reach to. So any pre-orders are helping to support everyone through this time and also to get the music out to you.
That's so wonderful, Kat. I mean, all of those friends' names that you were mentioning, I just had little kind of heart blips of love as you expressed. Daniel Paul, we've seen each other at so many festivals, and I just love his tabla playing. And I think he played on a song of mine called The Light Inside. Uh,
Nice.
Ironically, kind of similar to your album name because it's all one, right? The beloved lives inside, the light inside,
Right.
you know. Um, and that kind of points back to the practice that like through this beautiful bhakti yoga practice, which would you like to share a little bit about what that is to you actually, but through that
Sure.
practice we're exploring that, what is it, the light inside,
Yeah.
the beloved inside. Would
Yeah.
you like to speak to that?
Well, I
say
was
something?
introduced to bhakti practice through my yoga center when I was really training to teach yoga and studying yoga intently. And I can't even tell you how exciting it was to realize that there could be a yoga that included singing, right? And so I was principally in practice doing yoga because I wanted so badly to sing. I enjoyed singing so much. And I discovered that after physical practice, my voice was so much more open. And then combining that with the power in the mantras, you're just supercharging what you say and what you sing. So, it's as simple, excuse me, as making sound. It's as simple as getting up in the morning and finding your voice and chanting Om. I've found it really, really incredibly life-changing to have a drone and to use the harmonium or the tambura drone. If you are someone who doesn't have a harmonium and musical instruments aren't in your world, we live in a world now where we can download a drone for our phone, and it's fantastic. And that gives you an accompaniment that you can tune into. So when you get up, you can turn on your drone. You can sit even for 3 minutes, even for 5 minutes, whatever time you have. Listen in. Let your body come into tune with the drone. And then simple Om, that's a way to begin. Ah is a good way to begin, opening the mouth, dropping the jaw. And as we allow for the sound to affect us, we're tuning in to, like Johanna was mentioning, we're tuning into that oneness. We're tuning into our heart vibration, into the divinity that is our birthright, right? That is all around us. And it sounds really kind of woo-woo until you do it. And doing it isn't woo-woo at all. Doing it is kind of just like sitting down and making an agreement with yourself to make sound. Yeah. And little by little, we open up and it starts to become more natural. And if you feel called to mantras, again, the internet is a fantastic tool. You can look them up. You can learn the words, even bit by bit, start simple. Start with very, very simple ones. And simple repetition. You can sing along with any of the kirtan artists that you feel drawn to. It's just about doing it, right? It's like Krishna Das says, people ask him all the time, what's the most important practice? And he says, the one you do. And that's the biggest part, is committing to ourselves to do practice, and committing to ourselves to do practice on a pretty regular basis, because we tend to turn to these things when we are out of balance. But if we just continually drop in with practice, even if, like I said, it's for 5 minutes, it's there for us, right? And we start to notice when the balance is shifting, there's a through line, right? Coming back to the mat, coming back to the drone, coming back to your voice and breath.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Kat. And I love that bringing up Krishna Das, because he was one of both of our teachers. It
Yeah.
sounds like we both sat with him in the last week and just discussed that off camera, who brought this bhakti yoga practice kind of to the West in a Western style that we could kind of hear in the 70s. And Ram Dass also, I know that we both share another teacher, Ram Dass, who
Yeah.
also brought this practice of bhakti yoga to the West from India and kind of helped us, ancestors of that, to kind of wake up to that sound practice, which is always within, like you were saying, that we can just kind of tap in. But I was actually sitting with Krishna Das yesterday. We are interviewing him next time, not this next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after. Him and Nina Rao will be present on One Heart TV. And we'll be chatting with them about their practices and the music and the bhakti yoga, and how bringing that bhav has shifted their beings. And what I love about what he was saying yesterday that speaks to this so nicely is the humanity of all of us. And in the words of Ram Dass, we're all just walking each other home, right? And Krishna Das's story is so inspiring because he's so human in his human experience. When he sits and he speaks about his guru and he talks about these stories in India, it's so beautiful and it's so inspiring because he talks about the muck and the gunk that he went through to get to the practice. And so like when we have these moments of uncertainty, like what's been going on politically and all of this stuff in the world that we're all kind of faced with, we're also faced with our humanity if our practice isn't present. Like you were saying, 5 minutes a day, just that 5 minutes to like tune in can change so much in our outlook.
Well, and it ends up feeling so good that you spend more time. But
Exactly.
starting is the hard part, right? Just
Yeah.
sitting down and starting, and then
That's just training.
it fix you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Attention training, really, on anything. And it's what you focus on expands. I just love that when we focus on these practices of devotion, bhakti yoga, heart-centered practices. I had the same experience. I loved hearing your story just now because I've always known we were sisters, but for me it was similar that I was always a singer, but the physical practice of yoga, I'd quit singing and decided to become a yoga teacher. And then I was like, wait, I remember from, pre my birth, I was blessed in the womb by Ram Dass when my mother was pregnant. And this vibration just hit me in my teenage years, learning from Krishna Das again. But I had other kinds of musical expressions that needed to be, kind of explored before I landed on this path. And now it's kind of opening up to other musical expressions that are more positive, and that vibration, like you're saying, it snowballs and so I may not be singing in Sanskrit always anymore. But I feel like the vibration and the heart-centered connection through music is the medicine.
Yeah. Well, and that was something that came up, that the album that I'm releasing has a lot of English lyrics. And at a certain point, I struggled with, singing in English or not, because it felt, I don't know, sentimental, or it felt like it was a different practice than the mantra. And by softening around my own self-judgment and allowing for those words to come through, it really expanded my practice. And it really invited other people in who maybe hadn't heard Sanskrit mantra before. And the English lyrics were a way to soften sort of the difference. And then, we're all affected. We're all affected by the mantras, whether we know what they mean or not. Yeah. So it started to be a really positive and powerful practice to chant some lyrics in my birth language, which is English, and then, intersperse it with mantra. So I hear you. It's an interesting path that leads us to center, however we take it.
Yeah, it sure is. And that points to, I was listening to Sadhguru the other day. I don't know if you've studied with him at all, but I loved the way that he was talking about mantra and talking about when we are using, and I think English words, like you said, have a really great purpose because we are in the West. But he was talking about when we are speaking in English or singing in English, we are kind of going into our analytical minds, and that's why it's so important to sing in vibrational languages as well, because it's just straight from the heart. There's no perception. I'm not thinking, oh, this is a teacup right here and that's what I'm singing about, so I have to be like this tangible teacup. You can lose a little bit of energy with that, right?
Take us out of the mind. That's the whole point. Get out of the mind. Watch, observe that monkey mind, and then just stay in the repetition so that you let it go.
Yeah. And so it's such a beautiful practice for anyone to focus on any positive thing for any amount of time, whether English, Sanskrit. But
sometimes it's hard to focus on a positive thing. So the mantra is there as just sort of like, a knocking on the heart door. It's like, okay, today it's hard to think positive. I'm just going to sing Ram, 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 Ram. And after a while, it just kind of clears the space.
Yeah, it really does. Well, speaking of, how about we share a little bit of practice with our audience? Would you like to share a song? And
sure,
so to speak.
Yeah, I can do a bit of a song. Wonderful. So a lot of my practice in the past couple years has sort of focused around Hanuman. And so Hanuman has a big presence on the album. So this mantra is Bajaloji Hanuman. And it's not necessarily a mantra, it's more a saying, I guess, right? It's, oh, remember beloved Hanuman, oh, sing to beloved Hanuman. And then I'll include some Ram, 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 Sita, Ram, 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 which is a more traditional saying of the names. Bajaloji Hanuman, Bajaloji Hanuman, Bajaloji Hanuman, Bajaloji Hanuman. Hey, Bajranga Bali, Bajaloji Hanuman. Hey, Bajranga Bali, Bajaloji Ram, Ram, Sita, Ram, 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 Sita, Ram, 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 Sita, Ram, 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 Sita, Ram. Just a tidbit. Bajaloji Hanuman, Jai Hanuman. Are you muted?
Sorry about that.
Oh, there you are.
So many little things to remember in this.
Yeah,
play.
we're learning.
Yeah. I just love that Hanuman essence and energy in the Eastern tradition, that selfless service, and the Hanuman Chalisa was a really, really beautiful practice for me. Just kind of, it keeps kind of coming back. And it's 40 verses in Sanskrit. I know you have a beautiful version of that. Is it going to be coming out on your album as well?
There's one on the album, yeah, and I'll also have one on the Hanuman Maui album, the Bhakti Mala for Ramdas. So I'm working on 2 chalisas right now.
Yay!
It's awesome, yeah.
Yeah, we can't have enough chalisa because it takes a lot of, I mean, you can do it morning, noon, and night, and it can continue to benefit you throughout your life.
Yeah, it's a fantastic daily practice. That's you can have it on in the background. You don't even have to learn it. You can meditate to it. I mean, it's there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, so much mantra, so much beautiful mantra. I'd like to shift a little bit to a project that we just did together. Thank you so much for sharing so much of your beautiful music. I'm excited for the release in 2021. Do you know what month that's going to be?
It'll be in March for sure. So yeah, we're just in the final phases. So
wonderful.
Choosing a date right now. So I'll let you know.
That's really exciting.
Yeah.
So I just released this Mantra Sangha health and healing track that I know that you tracked in because you were all set up to do that at home, because we all are now, hopefully. And it was a beautiful fundraising music video. Here is the YouTube if anyone wants to check it out. I'm having a difficulty screen sharing, but I thought we might share a little bit of it live together. It's a
Great.
beautiful mantra from Sri Shakti Amma, and that is a teacher in India. And it's a mantra that is said to remove all disease during times of increased negativity and to reset the earth during increased times of trauma on the earth. And so it seemed like a very appropriate mantra, a new mantra that was transmitted by this teacher in India, Sri Shakti Amma, to help the world to wake up with and help the earth with. And so you can check it out there at that link. And the words are pretty simple. Om, the primordial sound of the universe, creation, and all living things. Om. Kreem.
Kreem.
Yeah, each syllable for Kali. Maha, like great. Yeah, Maha. And then Kali. And Kali is a transformative goddess, warrior goddess in Eastern tradition. And what she destroys, there's a creation that's even greater, right? And then Mahakali, Sarva, Rogam, Nasi, Nasi. So that's to remove all disease or to transmit negativity. So Sarva, Rogam, Nasi, Nasi is the last part. It's very rare, Facebook, Instagram, all of the rest of this live streaming world, for me to sing solo like this without a band, without all of the great wonders of technology support. Here I am with a harmonium, and it's so vulnerable and so beautiful. Welcome to my living room practice. It's so interesting. I watch other artists share that, and I feel so vulnerable still with sharing my personal practice this way. So.
Yeah.
Nasi, Nasi, Om Kreem Mahakali, Nasi, Nasi, Om Kreem Mahakali, Sarvarogam, Nasi, Nasi.
Om Kreem Mahakali Savarogam Nasi 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 Nasi.
Nasi, 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 Nasi.
Nasi, 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 Nasi.
Nasi, 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 Nasi.
Nasi, 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 Nasi. Om Kali.
Oms always bring us home, right? Let's just Om. Breath in, let's all one more time together. Sing that mantra just simple. Om Kreem Mahakali Sarvarogam Nasi Nasi. Om Kreem Mahakali Sarvarogam Nasi Nasi.
Om Kreem Mahakali Sarvarogam Nasi Nasi.
Om Kreem Mahakali Sarvarogam Nasi Nasi. That the earth and the people may be healed. So you can check out that beautiful track and support the education and survival of children in Nepal. And that is it. Here's the YouTube to watch it. And you can check out johannasings.com to read more about that track. It is featuring myself, Krishna Das, deep pranams to one of my original teachers, and Gina Sala, and Girish, and Kamini Natarajan, and Sianna, Sherman, and Masood Ali Khan, and the list goes on and on and on. It was 24 artists that I know from festivals. And
It's so awesome.
And Matrada Nepal Foundation is a beautiful foundation that supports children so beautifully. And I just always love to give back to where I have learned so much from in these Eastern traditions. It's so important to me because what you focus on expands, and what you give away comes back tenfold, right?
Absolutely.
So matradanepal.org is where you can check that out. And you can donate directly to them, or you can buy our track, but it all goes back. So that's that. So with that, let's speak a little bit about with this month of the heart and love. And we talk a lot about universal love in our microcosm, right, that we're living in. And in pop culture, we talk a lot more about romantic, one-on-one, personal love, right? And I think that there's a little bit of division between the two, like people don't understand the difference, and that universal love is this extraordinary thing that encompasses all of that. And so I want to speak a little bit, maybe if you had something to say about the difference between Valentine's Day love that we're, doing as a culture this month, and the kind of love that you and I through this practice focus on. And we talked a little bit about that before, but it might be an interesting conversation to go into.
Sure. I guess the difference for me, there's romantic love is a way to get in touch with this feeling, and we're wired to desire that and to want that. And, the longer that one lives, the more that you realize that comes and goes, right? There's a very wonderful surge of emotion when you fall in love with someone, and then things change. That's just the reality of life. What happens when you find practice, and what I've found, especially through bhakti practice, is the practice always brings me back to this state of love that is really similar to that feeling of being in love. I mean, chanting for a few hours straight, my body is buzzing, and I'm lit up, and people will comment on how my face has changed, and it happens to all of us. And so after experiencing that over and over, one starts to realize, like, oh wow, this is a phenomena, this is a feeling that exists in us, in all, right? And so as opposed to the, here and then gone that we experience with romantic love, not that there's anything wrong with romantic love, it's wonderful. I love to fall in love. It's beautiful. We're blessed to have that. And it's like a little window into this pervasive love that we are, right? That kind of romantic love is how we came into this incarnation. So with bhakti practice, we tap into that deeper, pervasive, always there love. And, a lot of times I've turned to practice when I didn't have a romantic partner and I was feeling quite alone. And invariably, it brings me back to this oneness, to a place where the connection to everything is just a little bit more tangible, or a lot more, depending on how much time you spend in practice. And so yeah, I mean, does that answer the question a little bit? It's different for everyone, but I'll really say it's experiential, and it's one thing to talk about it, and it's another to do. And so the best way to sort of experiment with it, if you're feeling called, is immerse yourself in this music, or immerse yourself in the drone and long tones, and sing Om, and just take baby steps, and notice what you feel, and notice if you know there's a little bit of a resonance with what I just said.
That was beautiful. That was exactly what I was kind of pointing to. I thought, I figured you would have an eloquent way of saying that we get to fall in love every moment with everyone. you know? So what a beautiful One Heart month to come out with
Mm.
my new One Heart name. And just, I've always had this
Ooh,
ancestral name that didn't actually fit my ancestry. I had
right.
just jumping into a little personal story, since it's
Yeah.
the show, I guess I can do that.
Yeah.
So we had this last name Beekman, and like my great great grandfather came over from Germany to dodge the draft, didn't want to fight, kind of lover, not a fighter, kind of like me, and changed his name. And so that's why I have this last name, is just because we're dodging. We didn't want to fight.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I didn't even have an ancestral linkage to my name at all. And my music through the years just became more and more universally inclined. And the messages are always about one heart, universal vibration, connection, no division, unity. And my degree was in that in college, my BS in women's studies with a focus on diversity education. And I'm watching the world wake up to this one heart, this universal heartbeat, with my hit song Heartbeats One. I'm watching this stuff come through, and seeing that, my first song when I was 9, I wrote, it was called Just a Little More Love. And I feel,
Ah, yeah.
it's a way of embodying that little childhood self that knew that love was always the answer, and letting
Yeah.
the world wake up to that same awareness simultaneously
Nice.
as taking my new last name. So
Yeah, congratulations.
in a
It's
couple
all, I mean,
it'll
it's
all
all
be
this,
live
the
on
seeds that we
Spotify.
plant.
What was that? Sorry.
I said it's all the seeds that we plant, and a name is a powerful seed.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
powerful
and it's,
flowing out.
your name, Kavita, I know was given to you by a teacher. And it's, I've been offered names that I didn't feel were authentic for me
Mm-hmm.
during my practice and time on this planet. And my first name is the spiritual name already. It's gracious gift of God, God's servant in Hebrew. And this
Beautiful.
brings me, I just wanted to share, I have a new single coming out that's half in Hebrew. Speaking of vibrational languages, it's another vibrational language. It's not Sanskrit, which Kavita and I have been singing in Gurmukhi, but this is, Hebrew is this beautiful language, and I have mostly German roots and a little bit of ancestral guilt around that, or a lot, as we might have, given if we know history.
Mm.
And um, and my I just saw, you would love a name, Angel. Yes, I would love a name for you as well, Angel. Sorry, I got distracted by our beautiful comments. Inner voice, balance, very eloquent, love. the new name Johanna One Heart. They were talking a little bit about what you were speaking of with the inner voice there, Kat.
Nice.
And Jai Hanuman sounds like a great way to start focusing your voice. Proud of you. The throat chakra just light me up. I just love connecting with all of you. Thanks for your comments. And I love sharing them with you, Kat, so you know what.
Yeah, I love it.
But I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. So having a connection with spirit through our name is so important. And I know that you have that already. I think was
well, when she gave me that name, she said, you can try this. Like, it was kind of like she offered it as a gift. So I always think of it as, I use it because I have so much love and respect for her, and she's not in the body anymore.
Yeah.
And I always think, okay, she said I can try. And I recognize that, what you said about your blank page, it's time for a new name. You've got a blank page and you've got a new name, and time to fill up that page. And so, new starts are
same with like
time to do that.
Is also it's like a birthing of a new part.
Oh,
yeah. We're both in this big transition, moment.
Yeah.
But practice really paves the way for perception in those moments, right? And anyway, so I think I was pointing to a Hebrew prayer when I got off track with the name thing. That I'm releasing on February 14th in the name of universal love with another artist named Mikey Pauker. And the song is called Help Us Love. And it's a chant about loving the neighbor as yourself in Hebrew. And then we translate it in English. And it's a beautiful prayer to help the universe wake up to that universal and not romantic love during this time. That there's so much beyond this microcosm. And as we open up to the neighbors that are right here, especially during these times, have become more important to us. So our immediate neighbors and connecting with them in a loving way is the most profound way to connect. We can do that here. So we'll be sharing that on the 14th of February, and you can pre-save it to Spotify now. And I'm going to share one more song, Kavita, if you'll join us with all of this love talk. I'd really love to share Heartbeats 1.
Yeah.
And we'll do what we can in Zoom to sing together. How does that sound?
Sure. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you, Kavita Cat MacMillan. You can connect with her about harmonium and voice and yoga and all of the good things that I also love to share. But I have to say, I might have snuck into a class or two of hers early on in my career. So I would definitely suggest you checking it out. Got to be transparent. We all learn from each other at the end.
Yeah, those were fun times.
Yeah. All right. So this is Christian, our dear friends that we love to collaborate with. How's the sound?
A little loud.
How's that?
That's better.
In our short, sweet lives, we're all searching for the light, the same light that makes trees thrive. Our roots grow down, branches reach for the sky. I know inside that you and I share the same heart, the same soul, the same love, and I know my heart beats one, your heart beats one, this heart beats one, our hearts beat as one, my heart beats The same light that makes trees thrive. Our roots grow down, feeling our roots grow down, these branches reaching to the sky. Thanks for connecting today on One Heart TV. Here we are sharing the same heart, the same soul, the same love. I'm our heart. Join us on Tuesday the 16th. We'll be interviewing Krishna Das, original chant artist and rock star in the West of KIrtan. Let's sing My Heart Beats One, Your Heart Beats One as we close it out one more time. Beat as one, my heart beats one. Your heart beats one. This heart beats one. Our heart beats as one. Feel the heartbeat, be the heartbeat, share the heartbeat. Until next time, family. Our hearts beat as one. I love you. I'll see you soon. Here, there, everywhere. Thanks.